talk to you about a little trip I took last summer. First of all, what do you think when you think of Iran? Do you think of a barren desert, of a foreign terrorist country, of an enemy? You know, as an American myself, that some other people have stereotypes about Iran. You think it looks like this. It's not true. Actually, it's more like this. It's actually a beautiful country, and no one really gets to see it through the way I do. Do you think of it as a place of worship where everyone just goes and everyone there is Muslim? That's not true. There's Christianity there, Orthodox Christians, and even Jews there. It's actually a beautiful country, and although some people just think of it as a desert and as a barren wasteland, it's not what you think. Not everyone there is praying, not everyone there is radical, and there's not always missiles and bombs going off everywhere. Actually, it snows there too, which no one would believe that it snows in the desert, but you know. I'm gonna tell you a trip I took last summer. I arrived in Iran on June 7th for my cousin's wedding. It actually wasn't much like this. Because they are Muslim, it was strange for me because they were separate. The men and women have to be separate, and they have to dress up in special ways, and they couldn't really talk to each other. And it was just disconnected for me. I didn't relate to the way their culture. It was all just separate for me, and I never really knew my family that I thought I would. I spoke the language, but it wasn't a real connection I get because I never really saw them that much. I go to Iran every few summers, but I never really wanted to. It was just boring for me. It was nothing enticing about it. But I mean, it was for my family, so I would go. We also bought a condo there for the first time, so we can have a house there to visit. And the strange thing was it was actually on the same street as the president's house, where the president lives. So it's a pretty nice place. And it just happened to be during this time, it was the Iranian presidential elections versus the incumbent Ahmadinejad and Mousavi. There were two others, but they were not as nearly as popular. Now, everyone supported Mousavi, the majority at least. But the government was all backing Ahmadinejad. They wanted him to win because they can control him and manipulate him and just use him the way they want for his power to show. Mousavi was supported by all the children, all the kids that couldn't vote, and really the majority. More of the more radicals or conservative Islamists would support Ahmadinejad. There would actually be posters of this guy commissioned to put up all over the city. And this was right after President Obama had won the election. They would have Obama's quotes and speeches, and he would just repeat them in a different language. Some of his talking in sign language. It was actually really, I thought it'd be clever, but people saw through it. Because people knew how it was going. They have news there on Facebook and Twitter. They know what's going on in the world. They're conscious of what else is happening outside their little realm. And that's one of Mousavi's quote: "You can't follow some parts of the Constitution and throw the rest into a bin," which is why he was so supportive, because he knew Ahmadinejad was corrupt, his government was corrupt, and that they weren't honest to the people. They wouldn't tell them what's going on. Iran isn't a suppressed, poor, famine-ridden country. People there have jobs, they're happy, but they just know that their government isn't being honest with them, that they could be better. It could be a better state of life for them. So when voting began, my parents and my dad and my family and everyone would go vote. It wasn't like here in the U.S. where some people would, I don't really want to vote. I don't like either the candidate. Everyone would vote because they knew it was important because they can cause change. And everyone in the lines supported Mousavi. But what happened was the day after the election, it was strange because they'd already counted the votes. It was not digital, just written with little fingers and pens, and they counted the votes. They disregarded any votes from the U.S. because you can vote in the U.S. and Europe. Anywhere else you can vote if you're an Iranian citizen. But they didn't even count those, just threw them out. And within a day, they had chosen Ahmadinejad as the president again. And first of all, people were upset about where their vote went, about what happened to their vote, and they were all almost confused, as in what happened to my liberties, because they wasn't even considered. The red area is where Ahmadinejad was supposed to be supported, while the green is Mousavi. This doesn't make any sense, because they said Mousavi received 33% of the vote, which doesn't, only in 2 provinces, it just doesn't add up. Soon there was talk of political unrest, and there were riots in the streets that night. There were Molotovs, hit my uncle's bank where he works, hit people's houses. There were street fighting, and the riot police were called out to control, and there were shootings, and the government said there were 36 shootings, where there were at least double that. she wasn't even a part of the actual political part. Her name's Neda, and she was shot just for being a part of it, watching what's going on. My parents went too, and they wouldn't let me go. Much of my family wanted to go support the riots. This is around 2 million people supporting Wasabi. It's called the Green Sea. They all supported the change. They all know that they can be in a better state of life. They all want a better state of life. And all these people lined up in this Capitol to support and protest and trying to get Ahmadinejad out. But it still didn't happen. Almost as it just went away, what's going on with it. The protest almost just stopped. They were suppressed by the government, and then nothing happened. It was strange because it was there and then it was gone. Nothing really came from it, and everyone wonders what could be done to change it. And I guess there's so much more I can say, but that's about it for now.